Good afternoon, teacher and classmate. Today I'm going to talk about analyze a task for assessment grading. In this case, I choose one of the web. This as a task is a creative writing activity called A Dark and Stormy Night. The author is Nick Bichel. He's a teacher, trainer, materials writer, and he's member of the British Council. So, I wanted to explain you what is the task in order to get the analyze. We have two parts in this task, the listening part and the writing part. In this case, in the listening part comes first, says that we have to ask the students to draw the face of a person in the top right hand of the corner of the page, as you can see in this part. Also, once they've done this, ask them to give the person a name. In this case, I choose the name of Clara. Then on the top left of the page, ask them to write 5 adjectives to describe the person's appearance. I choose beautiful, intelligent, quiet, funny, and tall. And next, ask them to write 5 more adjectives to describe the person's character. After they done this, ask the students to write 3 things that the person likes doing. In this case, I choose studying math, write stories, and sing songs. And finally, then ask them to write who the person live with. In this case, I choose mom, sister, and a dog. Now, in this case, the reasons that we make this is to make them to build a character profile for the person they are going to write about them. So, now we are going to look for the writing part. Here we says that now dictate the following sentence to your students. This sentence is, it was a dark and stormy night, and we stop in that part because in this moment each student will complete the sentences for their imagination and add one more sentences. So in this case, I'm going to imagine it was a dark and stormy night and my mom comes from the wood. Then when the students do that, they have to pass to the corner of the left and continue doing this in order to complete the story or other partner. So in this case, we are going to continue the story. We are going to maybe do by lines, maybe 5 or 6 students and make them to create the story. The first one will be who begins bad. The last one will end the story. And then they can continue passing and we can stop this when we decided, maybe when the line stop or when we know that they are starting to lose interest. So now what I want to make the analyze. In this case, in the British Council page, the author says that the activity should work at most levels above elementary, as long as your students have some knowledge of past tenses, but it works best when they also know past continuous progressive too. All you need to get things started is a sheet of plain paper for each pair of students. So in this case, as we can analyze, the student's level is intermediate. This can work with the students of elementary, maybe with orals in a course, and we can use this in many situations. As says Bachman, we have that the students are going to be assessed because we need to know how is their ability, and in this case, we are going to take decisions. Now, what is the objective for using this specific task? The author says us that the main focus of the activity is on developing writing skills, but it's also good for developing listening and reading skills and also for practicing past tenses and descriptive vocabulary. So in this case, as we can see, the focus is not just in the skill of writing, is the main, but we can also have listening because they have to listen to our instructions, and reading because we can add at the end an activity where they read aloud, and also where when they are passing the piece of paper, they are reading what their partners said. Also, this Beckman says in his book that it's very important that all the skills are related. Now, about the scoring rubric used for the task, we can show that the scoring rubric have some aspects of writing, in this case, task achievement that I consider very good. The grammar, yeah, because we also need to show our students write correct in the two structures that we are going to evaluate, that is past tense and past continuous. Vocabulary, that they are using some vocabulary, not just the same words. The mechanic, also that they know how to translate from sentences of other partner to their own ideas, and the coherences, because we are writing a little story of a character of other partner, and these have to need to have coherence and have follow some steps. So finally, in this scoring rubric, as you can see, the teacher is giving the score as a group. As I said, in this case, the teacher is going to use maybe by 5 or 6 students, and then he makes them to read aloud, and then he give a score for that group. Finally, what was the reasons that I choose this task? And I want to give some reasons that the author suggests me when I read this task. Says that this activity is fun and creative and has always worked well for the both with adults and younger students. In this case, it's fun because you continue a story and maybe you give some different ways to include maybe in a thriller, maybe in a romantic situation, and this is fun for the students. And also, the author suggests us that we also have other activities to follow up when we finish to write this story. In this case, once all the story are complete, there are a number of follow-up options you can try. Put the stories up around the class and get the students to read them all and decide which is the best. They are practicing also speaking, and the rest of the class is practicing listening. Give each pair of students a story and get them to try to find and correct errors. In this case, we are applying also what we said in the scoring rubric, because we are saying that they have grammar, good grammar, and in this case we are making that our students help with this part of correct errors. And finally, get the students to write the stories up on a computer and then ask them to add more description and detail to the stories. In this case, we are passing to maybe a simple paragraph of a story, making more detailing, giving more characters. And in this case, I think that this story is very useful because improve in our students their writing skills and also use creativity and the imagination of the students and give them to different things to be added. Not just my idea is in the paper, in the story, are the ideas of all of the class. So finally, I want to mention a little table that I made. In this case, I put the more important that I think when I analyze this task. First, who are the test takers? In this case, are the students. The age group, I put teens because it works in younger students. I am going to suppose that these students are for 10 or first bachelor. The language of the level of the language ability in this case is intermediate because we need that they know already how to structure a sentences and continue and give forms to the sentences. The language that we are using is English, and the language use activity, what we want in the activity is writing sentences in past simple and past continuous. Finally, the intended uses are the scoring rubric. With what we have in this scoring rubric, we are going to maybe make decision to continue with this activity, reinforce some parts of the grammar, maybe give a little feedback with all the class, or maybe they are very good and we can pass to other topic. So this is everything. In this case, we use the the book of Bachman, the book of Brown and Abewickra, and we also use the activity by British Council, where we find this task very interesting, and maybe that is different to make them students just to write a paragraph. They have to make occurrence in the story of other person and also give a part of their imagination in other. This is everything, and thank you for watching this video.